happy holidays. Get it? Holiday. I'll shut up now. Hello, beautiful people of the internet, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie, and today in this video, I'm going to share with you guys all of the books that I received as Christmas presents this year. I think I have 11 books to show you if I counted correctly. I'll try to give you a little description about what each book is about. Well, the first book I have actually wasn't technically a Christmas present because while I was at the bookstore buying gifts for other people, I saw it and I bought it for myself, which is really bad, I know, and I don't make a habit of doing that, but it was on a discount table. It's a signed edition and I saw it, I had to have it. If you watched my Oh What Fun Readathon vlog, you already know what this is, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Children of Blood and Bone is the first in a brand new YA fantasy series that follows a girl named Zaylee. Now, Zaylee lives in a land where the people have magical powers. However, a ruthless king has targeted the Magi, and they are all now being tracked down and killed in his attempts to eradicate magic from the land. So Zaylee and a princess are on a mission to restore the magic. This is a really popular YA fantasy right now, and what's really unique about it is that it is inspired by West African mythology, which I think is super interesting because you don't see that in a lot of fantasy novels, and it's something that I personally don't know a lot about, so I would really like to be exposed more to their stories, their culture. This is just a really beautiful Barnes & Noble special edition. It is signed by Tomi Adeyemi, and when I saw it, I just had to have it, so I bought it for myself. I know that's very naughty of me, but I saw it and I had to have it. The next book is a sequel, so I can't tell you too much about it in case you haven't read the first book yet, and that is Glass Sword, which is the sequel to Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Red Queen is about a futuristic fantasy world where there are two groups of people, Silverbloods and Reds. And the Reds do not have magical powers, while the Silvers do. They all have powers that run in their families, whether it be being able to control people's minds or to manipulate fire, things like that. However, our main character, Mare, who is a Red, finds out that she has the power to control electricity, which she is not supposed to be able to do. This is the second book in the series. I liked Red Queen. I gave it 3 stars. Even though it wasn't super original, it was a really quick read and I was engaged while I was reading it, so I am going to pick up the sequel. I think in the month of January, I'm going to buddy read this with one of my subscribers, so I'm excited to read this and hopefully it's good. I know there are some mixed opinions about this series on book 2, but I liked book 1 well enough, so hopefully this one is good too. Up next, I have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is a funny historical fiction novel following Monty, who is going on his grand tour of Europe, because that's a thing that people used to do in a historical England when they were coming of age, like a big celebratory tour for young men to go out and see the world. So Monty is going on a grand tour with his friend Percy, but the thing is Monty secretly has romantic feelings for his friend Percy, and a whole bunch of hijinks ensue on their trip around Europe, which I think this sounds like a really fun book. I know it's really beloved. There's a sequel out now, and I really like that it is a historical same-sex romance because I think that's really interesting and unique, so I am looking forward to reading this soon. It'll be a nice, fun, lighthearted historical fiction read. Up next, I have Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This is an adult mystery thriller. I know Karen Slaughter is a really popular thriller author. However, I've never read her, and I wanted to rectify that because I love mystery thrillers. I love suspense. That's the genre that I hope to write someday. So I'm not entirely sure what exactly Pretty Girls is about. I think it's about 2 sisters who they had a sister who disappeared many years ago and they've been estranged since, but then there's another murder that brings them back together again. It sounds interesting. I've heard it's good. I've also heard that it's very violent, so we'll see about that. I do really like mystery thrillers. That's my favorite genre, so since Karen Slaughter is a beloved author on BookTube, I wanted to read one of her books, and I'm excited to pick this up hopefully in the near future. Up next, I have Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This is another historical fiction following a girl named Audrey. Audrey is the assistant to her uncle, who is a mortician, and when prostitutes start being murdered all around London and they discover it is a serial just combined killer and ripper into one word. Serial kipper. A serial killer who becomes known as Jack the Ripper Audrey and this boy named Thomas decide that they want to try to investigate Jack the Ripper and find out who he really is. I think this sounds really interesting. Again, a mystery. I love mysteries, and I also think the story of Jack the Ripper is super interesting. To this day, I don't think we still know who it was that was committing these murders, so I think it would be really cool to read a book about it. I'm excited for it, and I will hopefully pick this up soon. Up next, I received Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is a classic thriller novel. Yes, I said a classic thriller. It follows an unnamed narrator who marries a wealthy widower and goes with him back to his estate. However, the estate is still permeated by the presence of his deceased wife, Rebecca, and the housekeeper is very antagonistic towards our narrator, and the narrator becomes consumed with the idea, the spirit of Rebecca. So this is something that I definitely really want to read soon. It is supposed to be fantastic. I like reading classics and I love thrillers, so it's two of my favorite things combined into one. I also just think this edition specifically is so pretty. I love this cover. I think it is absolutely gorgeous, and I am super excited to read this book. I have very high hopes for it. Like, I think this could potentially be a 5-star read, possibly one of my new faves of all time. So I have very, very high hopes for this. I can't wait to read it. Up next, I have a young adult fantasy novel. It is Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovic. I am sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. Again, another book that I think has an absolutely exquisite cover. This book follows two sisters who have this ability to gleam, which is to manipulate beauty through magic. It's a trait passed down through their family, and their mother also can gleam, and they live a very secluded existence so no one finds out about their magic. Their mother has also forbidden them from ever falling in love, because falling in love and being vulnerable with someone could potentially lead to their powers being exposed. However, one day the girl's mother is attacked and left in a state between life and death, and the girls have to save their mother, and they uncover an ancient curse that follows through their family line. I think this book sounds interesting and has a gorgeous cover, and what I think is really interesting about it is that it takes place in Montenegro, and I can honestly say I've never read a book that takes place there. I don't think I've ever even heard of another book that takes place there, so that's definitely something different and interesting. So I really like to read a book in this setting because it's very unique and I've never seen it done before. Up next is another book which people on BookTube rave about, and I am super excited to finally read it. And that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is a psychological thriller that follows a group of friends at a New England liberal arts college, and there is a murder that takes place among their friend group. I've heard so many rave reviews about this book. I love a good psychological thriller. I don't think I really read that many books that take place at college, so that is interesting, and everybody just says this book is so good, so I have such high expectations. I'm really excited to read it. I'm so happy I finally have a copy of it. So another book that I'm really excited to read. I am so excited to read all of these books. I don't even know where to start because I'm so excited to read all of them. Up next, I have The Sisters of the Winter Wood by Rena Rosner. I hope I'm saying her name right. This is a fantasy novel which is based off the poem Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti, which I'm not big on poetry in general, but Goblin Market I think is a really good poem. I read it in high school and I read it again this semester at college. I wrote an essay on it this semester. So this book follows two sisters named Libba and Leah, and they are living in Moldova and Ukraine. And their family has always warned them to be wary of strangers, but one of the sisters falls under the spell of a group of traveling men who show up in town, and the girls uncover a family secret. So I think this sounds really interesting because it's based on one of my favorite poems. I think there's some magic in it. It's a fantasy, sounds really atmospheric and good. I think maybe I'll read it this winter because it seems like a good winter read. I don't know. I'm so torn because I want to read all of these books and there's only so little time, you know? All right, we are down to the last two books, and surprise, surprise, another one I'm really excited about, and this is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So many people on BookTube have read this. I've heard nothing but positive reviews. I have not heard one bad review yet. Our main character in this book is Monique, who is a fledgling reporter who is surprised when she is requested by old Hollywood film star Evelyn Hugo to write down the story of her life. So the entire book follows follows Evelyn telling her life story to Monique. I've heard so many people say that Evelyn Hugo is an amazing character, that when you read this book, she'll feel like a real person to you. I've also heard there is good bisexual representation in this book, and I'm all for positive bi rep in books. I love it. So I'm so excited to read this book. Man, take a drink every time I say excited in this video, because I've said it for every single book in this video, but I am excited for all of them. And this is going to get read soon, I think, because I've heard so many good things about it and I want to read it so badly. I want to know why everyone else loves this book and I want to love it too. This is, again, I think a 5-star prediction for me. Maybe I should just make a video on 5-star predictions. Ooh, comment down below if you'd be interested in that, because this book would definitely be on there. The last book in this haul is Fire and Blood, Part 1 by George R.R. Martin. This is a companion to his A Song of Ice and Fire series, aka Game of Thrones, and Fire and Blood is a mock history of the entire history of House Targaryen. This is part 1. There will be a second volume which will chronicle the later half of the Targaryen history. This takes place from Aegon the Conqueror's landing in Westeros up until the Dance of Dragons Civil War. So I am so excited to read this. I am so obsessed with A Song of Ice and Fire, and Game of Thrones, the TV series, is also amazing. I love the books even more than I love the show, and I love the show a whole lot. I am so interested to learn more about the history of the complex and awesome Targaryen family. This book also has really nice illustrations, which I'm so excited to look at, and even though it's 700 pages, I think I'm going to devour this. I will probably start it after I finish filming this video because I have been waiting for this. I wanted it so badly. I thought about pre-ordering it, and then I didn't pre-order it, and then after I didn't pre-order it, I wished I had, so I cannot tell you how excited I am to finally have this book in my hands. And there I go saying the word excited again, but I'm excited. What can I tell you? I love all these books. I'm so happy to have them all, and I can't wait to read all of them. Alright guys, that is it for me. Let me know what books you got for the holidays this year, what books you are looking forward to reading very, very soon. If you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, let me know what you thought about them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. Thank you guys for watching, and have a happy holiday season.